Hey Greg, I'm back here tonight. Sorry, we gotta change it up a little bit. But as you look at this playoff run, you guys have 15 goals in 3 games. We know we've seen how they work together this season. Joseph, Gabriel, and Ricky, and Dayon, all those guys. What are you seeing now in the playoffs? Is there anything different that you noticed or seen?
I don't know. Each of them is playing at a high level right now. They're, each of them is sharp, playing with a lot of intention and purpose. I think they're really connected with each other. In addition to each of them individually, just playing at a high level. And playoffs are strange because some of those goals came late in games when the opposition is extending themselves. Especially in the second leg of Colorado. But again, Gabe's on fire. He's running without the ball, running with the ball. He's been a handful. Obviously Ricky's movement. So I just think they're just really well connected, focused, and playing with real intention.
And then with this being
And then he told me, I was like, okay, great.
Yeah, basically.
So now I'm just,
Sorry, not sure where that's coming from.
They stole my question. With this being the first game in 3 weeks, was there concern how the guys might handle this? I mean, you guys scored early within the first minute, but the first half, how do you think the guys sort of played their way into the game?
Yeah, I think for all of us, there's a little bit of concern. When I say all of us, I mean coaches, everybody who's involved. Just 3 weeks is a long time to not really have a competitive game together as a group when you're going into games of this magnitude. So our guys did a great job. I have to give them a lot of credit over the 3 weeks of, we found our moments to take a break, and you can't keep guys in the highest level of intensity for 3 weeks. So you have to find ways to give them a break and let them come down, which is the part that makes you a little anxious if you're a coach, and then try to, get them ramped back up and peaking at the time when you got to get back on the field again and play. I know being at home helps. The crowd was amazing and the energy in the stadium was outstanding, which I know just the guys were feeding off that from minute one, and then we get a goal to start it off, and that's obviously helpful when you haven't played for 23 days to get off to a start like that. So I thought, again, I thought the performance in general was obviously really good. There were some really, really good attacking moments. I thought as the game progressed, we showed the right balance between being patient with our attacks and then being direct and purposeful within our attacks. We took advantage of good moments, and I thought defensively we were pretty sound. There's a couple actions where I think balls drop when they shouldn't, or second balls stick around a little bit longer than they should. We don't clean them up, but for being 23 days off, I'm certainly pleased and proud of these guys for the way they responded to the moment.
Hey Greg, right now you guys are looking unstoppable. Wondering your thoughts on that. Is this the best we've seen this team this last stretch? The best we've seen this team this season? And lastly, you guys now get Seattle. Was quite a rivalry there for a while until Galaxy kind of stopped competing at that level. Almost like a dormant rivalry that might be reawakening. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the group is locked in, our group in particular, locked in and playing with purpose, again, connected, playing with real intention, and I think when we do that, we're a really good team. When we make good decisions through the course of the game, we're a really good team. When we stay connected defensively, we're actually a really good defending team, things like that. So I think just everybody's locked in, which is a great time of year for everybody to be locked in. Well, I would tell you I was quite impressed with Seattle. I know they're a well-coached team. They're gritty. They have they have a group that's just playoff experienced, and they know how to go in tough places and get results. And we saw that last night. And so, I always live by we're only as good as our last game, and our last game is over now. And so, we celebrate and we recover, and now we have another really difficult opponent ahead of us that we'll get to preparing for in the next couple of days, but obviously we have a ton of respect for them and what they're capable of doing, and as much as anything, just the gritty determination that group has, and the understanding how to win in big moments. And sometimes that's unteachable, but they've learned it as a collective group. It's the culture that they've developed up there, and doesn't matter if it was, Obed Vargas, who's 19 or 20 years old, or it's João Paulo. They have the culture up there, and that's something that we, obviously, that we're continuing to strive for, and it comes from putting championships under your belt, and that's something to look forward to. And to be fair to our group, I will say that we put some goals up on a good defensive team. That Minnesota is a good defensive team, and they are well organized. And watching them, I was concerned about this game because they have a way of slowing you down and turning you over, and some guys in the attack that can hurt you. And I was pleased that when we were attacking, we were direct, and when we were direct, we were able to cause some problems and keep them a little bit unbalanced through the course of the night. But they're a good team. The coach has done a great job since he's gotten here and learned the league and got his team together. They've done a great job.
Is this the best you guys have played this stretch?
Like I said, I started that we're in good form, and I think that's because everybody's locked in. And I think it's hard to say because every game is so different, right, from the last. And because of the nature of the game next week, we're going to have a very different opponent that's going to ask different questions of us, and we're going to have to find solutions in that game. And ditto for any other game that's to come, or ditto for any game in the past. So it's tough to say, but I love that the group is locked in and everybody is fulfilling their responsibilities on the field at a high level, and they're connected to each other. And that when you do that, I think we have a lot of talent and a good group. Yeah. Good thing you're in the front row. Yeah. Thank you.
If you want to say whether this is the best performance of the year, can you say whether, when you look at the tape, can you guys get better? Because today was dominant, the whole playoffs have been dominant. Can you get better than this?
Yeah, well, you can always get better because I'm not sure I've ever seen a perfect game in football in my life. So there's always some way to get better. Again, I think there was a couple direct balls that were played that, between the first and second balls, I felt like they landed in between our lines and they gave us a little bit of problems. The throw-in was an example of that, where a ball kind of lands in our box and it shouldn't be landing in our box. So there's details. There's always details that you can try to tighten up. And as coaches, we always see those things, but I'm pleased with the general overall body of work, and there's always going to be something in there that we're going to want to be mindful of. And Seattle will present some different challenges than Minnesota did, and we're going to have to be ready for those. And that's why this task and job is never ending, and there's always something to look forward to. But I like, most importantly, where the mentality of the group and the head of the group is at, and I think that's when you're in a good spot, you can the way the guys are and locked in, then you can make those adjustments and adapt along the way for whoever's next. And so I look forward to it. And it's nice to be at home because our crowd has been amazing. I'm going to keep saying that. I mean, the energy in the stadium has been amazing, and our guys like to put on a show, as you can see when they play. And so I think that really plays well for us.
Great. You talked a little bit about the defense, but only allowing one goal from the run of play. Penalty kick as well is in there, but Garza seemed like he's really locked in. Whenever you look at Maya Yoshida, had a good game. Yamane, I mean, you could go across John Nelson too. I don't want to leave anybody out.
For sure.
Where has that developed? Because maybe we didn't see that as much during the regular season. Certainly it was building, but now in the playoffs, you guys have become a pretty defensive team.
Yeah, I think, it's something that we were essentially gauging over the course of the year. When you go through those guys, a guy like Emmy he's a defender first. That's his mentality, and his athleticism and his speed and his tenacity in one-on-one situations, and to defend that's his strength, With John Nelson, he's a defender first, he reads games, he reads situations, he's quick to pick up balls, he's quick to see what's going to happen next. So I just think between the four of them, there's a little bit more of a touch more of just a defensive mindset, where maybe earlier in the year we had a little combination of guys who are more comfortable on the ball or more attacking minded. This group really thinks defending first, and then how can they help in terms of possession or attacks and things like that. So I think their instincts are very good on that side of things, and the way we play and having as much of the ball as we have, sometimes it's instinctual to what you have to do defensively. You have to recognize things quickly, react and anticipate, and this group has, I think, just shown that they have sharp defensive instincts, and they've been able to manage these different moments and situations.
Hey Greg, congratulations on your victory tonight. I wanted to ask you just your reaction to Gabriel Pack's second goal on the night, and does he still have another gear left in him to go in these playoffs?
I mean, I hope, but it's fun to watch. I mean, he's a handful, you know, and again, he's the type of winger who when he's on his day, and today was one of them, and he's been around there for lots this year, he can beat you in one-on-one situations. He can beat you right, he can beat you left. Today he's running hard without the ball, which creates a lot of problems for you. He can play in combination with other guys. Like when you have a winger that you know is, I don't know, what the triple, quadruple threat and isn't just a kind of have one thing, it becomes almost undefendable because he always has whoever's dealing with him always guessing. And that's kind of where Gabe is at right now, and I think that's tribute to him. I think it's the tribute to the guys that are over there together, working together, that they're able to create different scenarios. And the goal he scored on that particular occasion was pretty individually special. That wasn't the product of anybody else other than him making a really special. I think they tried to foul him hard twice to end the play, and he was able to get out of that, keep his speed and momentum, and then finish with his right foot, if I recall, right? Like that's pretty impressive. You know, that's nothing that I can say had happened on the training field or anywhere else. That's just the young man doing some stuff that not many people can do.
Hi Greg, congrats on this win. Very special win on a very special night. Personally, my mother she's in from Virginia, so I want to appreciate yourself, the team, for putting on such a show for her. Something she's always admired about you and your tenure is how you stuck to your principles, regardless of how bad or good things were going. And this entire season, really especially this playoff run, has shown that it was worth the wait and any patience that fans maybe did or didn't show you. How satisfying has this year's renaissance been after such a long dark age?
First of all, I appreciate that. Second, I'm from Virginia originally as well, so welcome to your mom. I'm glad she enjoyed the game. I think, you know, listen, first and foremost, as coaches, if we don't live on our principles, then what do we have actually to live on and believe in and understand what we're doing? And so, you know, part of that is when you're really clear about what your principles are and what the things are that you need and that you want to have out there and your team doing, then you can continue to drive the team in that direction. And, you know, this year the pieces work together. The pieces have grown together and they fit together. You know, as I said to them coming out, the way we play is to be aggressive and to be bold and to take risk and to go for it. We're not a hang out, sit back, be conservative. That's not the way we do it. We go and we live with the consequences at the end of the day, and we react when situations don't go well, and we go for it when we do. And it doesn't matter if it's MLS Cup Finals or it's the first game of the season, the middle game of the season. That's who we are and who we're going to be, and we need to be the best version of that we can, and we've got the players who can deliver on that. So, you know, and the other is just to solve the problems of the day, to understand, you know, what within our principles, to understand what the game is asking and what the challenges are that are in front of us. You know, every opposition could potentially show up and give us a difference. Someone could press high, go man on man, someone could sit low, and we always want to have solutions to those things, and that's what we try to preach around here, and sometimes it doesn't happen overnight, but eventually we get there, and this year we certainly seem to have gotten there, and I think we're moving in the right direction. So I appreciate the kind words as well.
Greg, congratulations on the win. We've spoken a lot about Gabriel Peck tonight, but let's take you over to the other wing. Josephine, so didn't get a lot of touches, but he got his brace. Could you talk to us about his performance and his ability to pop up in the right time, right place? Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny because Joe knows that on certain occasions there's going to be certain games where he doesn't get a ton of touches because of a little bit of where we've positioned him in the situation, but also just the way the game flows. And sometimes, as I said tonight, patience is a virtue, and get yourself into the right spots, and good things can come your way. And sometimes it's not the amount of touches, it's what you do with the few touches or however many touches you get. And today he was outstanding. He was in the right spots, and he put on a great defensive shift. And sometimes in his role, and we've talked about this too, that he just tactically has to be sound and help give us all the little things that we need. And he can also be the benefactor of some of the things that go off on the right. And so today he certainly was, and he finished his opportunities, and he looked sharp, and he looked refreshed a little bit after the break, to be fair to him. And So I was really pleased. Again, just staying engaged when you're not getting a ton of touches is important. And he benefited from it today, and he was outstanding in that regard.
Hey, Greg, congrats on the victory. Can you talk a little about what Ricky does? I mean, he orchestrates the entire game. And in the past, you've also talked that you don't like him dropping a lot. Today,
I did ever said that, really?
today he started the play from playing with Maya,
Sure.
playing with the mirror. Tonight it was just fantastic to see Ricky at that level.
Yeah, look, he's a unique and special player. There's no two ways about that. And what we've learned, with Ricky is how to give him the right spaces to allow him the space to move around, because he's unplayable when he's on the move. And it's so hard if you try to mark him and chase him around, because he is so mobile and he is so quick. And so a lot of it for us is how to not put him in the box, but how for other guys who are playing with Ricky, how to understand how to best be effective and allow his movements to take place and to work off of those things. And so, and he's clever about how he obviously does those things. So, it's just when you have somebody who can kind of dictate the game like that, I don't think the right thing is to say, hey, you have to stay high. I think it's his specialty to do the things that he does, and we have to then organize properly the field and the pockets and the gaps and the runs and different things like that to help him to be effective, so that he can help others to be even more effective. And that's a little bit of a product of how we think about things, and that's something that as a coach I had to adapt to a little bit. Maybe it's not exactly how I saw the position on paper, but then when you get a player that can change the way you think, it's important for me to adapt as well, right? And then help everybody else sort of adapt within that. And that's just knowing how to use your pieces, especially ones who are as talented as he is.
Greg, you guys have had a dominant season. This is, of course, a storied franchise in MLS. Just being one of the 4 teams standing, and with the possibility, you mentioned the fans, of even hosting the MLS Cup, what does this moment mean to the organization?
Well, I think it's just, again, the patience in some ways, and sometimes not so patient, that the fans have had those moments when, as an organization, we weren't delivering on the expectations that were created by the successes of the past. It's not anything other than living up to our legacy, really, in many ways. And so, them suffering through that, but also finding patience at times, but now reaping the reward of the moment that this team is exciting to watch. It's fun to watch. It's getting results, and now is in a position to do something special, which is always what I think the standard is for the LA Galaxy. Is you can't win a championship every year. It's just not feasible, I think, when you have 30 teams that are trying to win a championship. But to put yourself in contention and give yourself the best chance to do so is the expectation of the Galaxy and the Galaxy fan base. And that's where we are at this point. And we have a lot of work to do still in the next game to even be there. But I think there's a lot of energy and excitement about the group we have and the direction that we're going, which is a statement that the Galaxy are back, and that's what people are looking for.
We've got one final question on Zoom. Sophie, go ahead.
Evening, Greg. Congratulations on an emphatic win.
Welcome to the room, Sophie.
Hello. If ever a coach deserved this moment in the league, it's you. Considering the journey that you've had and the different chapters at LA Galaxy to get to this moment. But for a lot of that time, you've been the underdogs, and now everyone has LA Galaxy as the favourites to win MLS Cup. How does that sit with you, and how do you like being in that position?
I think it's just discussion points at the end of the day. It's talk, and we were supposed to be like 13th in the West or something at the beginning of the season, and that certainly has changed a little bit, and now we're supposed to win it, so people can't really figure out where we should be. So to me, it's just a bunch of chatter. Our group has to stay really focused internally about our locker room and how we're going to approach the next game and the next training session, and just to be ready to play. And it's for all of you all to talk about who the favorite is and who isn't, and not for us to worry about. I think we always have to find the balance between subtly just being aware of not wanting to lose, but being really confident in being who we are and going after it. So I don't necessarily believe, especially in this league, I don't believe in favorites, because as you saw across this league, anybody can win on any given day. And so it's about the performance and execution on the day is the only thing that matters.
Thanks for your time, Greg.
All right, thank you, everybody.